Your Excellencies, fellow Nobel Laureates, and distinguished sisters and brothers. On behalf of Laureates and Leaders for Children and the children of the world, I express my deepest gratitude for lending your voice for the most marginalized children as well as their families. But at this juncture, I would also like to salute all the young leaders who participated and spoke at the summit. It gives me a confidence that the world is in safe hands. Your purity, your energy, and your vision, your leadership is definitely the ray of hope in these difficult times and in the future. My dear children of the world, I am here to tell you, we are here to tell you, that we have not assembled here to debate and discuss on the problem or even on the solutions. We are here to tell you one thing. We are not going to fail you. We are not going to leave you. We will brave the storms, but rest assured that we are not going to leave you in the storm. We stand by you and we will fight for you. We are here to tell to the global citizens that we are not going to tolerate the business as usual in dealing with the COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 crisis. We are not going to accept that the agonies, the miseries, the child labor, slavery, trafficking becomes the new normal. We are determined that the fair share for children should become or must become the new normal. That is going to become a mass movement, and I assure you that they are going to become the new culture in all spheres of life. Fair share for children. I would also like to urge to the governments on behalf of the laureates and leaders that this is the right time to show your leadership. Be bold. Act with compassion. Act with a sense of urgency. Act united. And there is nothing more powerful way of uniting the world than the compassion for children. And that's why we reiterate those demands which were raised by us as well as echoed by all the speakers. The first of all, that 20% of the COVID-19 pandemic response fund must be allotted for the most marginalized 20% children and their families of the world. It is possible. It is justifiable. We know that $8 trillion, over $8 trillion have been allocated. And all the speakers have echoed that only 0.13% is going for the most needy people of the world through the multilateral appeals. This is unacceptable. Our second demand is that many children will be dropped out of the schools and they may become child laborers, child slaves. So the governments have to take urgent policy actions, funding, and the compliances to ensure that the children should not be trapped into slavery, trafficking, child labor, and other kind of miserable situations, which is imminent to happen if we don't act now. They have to act also on other aspects like the growing online child sexual abuse, dropping out from schools. Ensure that no child is left behind once the pandemic is over. Children come back to schools. And that requires strong, bold leadership. Thirdly, we also demand, and we know that the poorest people, the most marginalized and vulnerable communities and sections of society are facing this crisis and paying the price for it, losing their traditional livelihoods, even the day-to-day life is being affected. And that's why the social protection for marginalized people is must. Governments have to make sure that there is a social safety net for those vulnerable communities, marginalized communities across the globe. And fourthly, once the vaccine is available, it should be made available free for everyone universally. This is the least we can do to create a sense of solidarity and a sense of equality and justice. And finally, I would call upon the young people. Don't wait for your leaders. Don't look at the champions outside. There is a champion inside each one in you. I know that in last 2 days, hundreds of thousands of young people through 100 million campaign and through other sources are joining this summit. So you are not simply listeners, dear friends. You are leaders. You are champions. Take rein in your hands. Take the leadership in your hands and act and raise your voice to build Fair Share campaign. Fair Share for Children campaign should be led by young people across the world. Finally, I would call upon everyone. We cannot afford to lose the entire generation. We are wealthier and more resourceful than any given point of time in the history. So protection of our children, education for our children, healthcare and saving them from hunger is not only possible and affordable, it is very much achievable. And that's why we have to act now. On behalf of all the leaders and laureates who joined these events, while thanking you, we call upon you to march. March from exploitation to education. Let us march from slavery to liberty. Let us march from poverty and hunger and miseries and vulnerabilities to sheer prosperity. Let us march from darkness to light. Let us march together from violence to peace. There is no other choice left in these times. We have to march. We have to march. Let us march, dear friends. Thank you so much.